The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of Bermuda's Feel Good Early Morning Show. Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pete's House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. I want to thank you for getting up bright and early with us on this Tuesday morning. Jack, how you feeling? It's Tuesday, second day of the week.
It's Taco Tuesday.
Hey, are you having tacos tonight?
I think I might make some like taquito thingies. I you know.
What are taquito thingies?
TikToks.
Right.
It's like it's called I don't know. It's like small burritos, taco.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Minis.
I guess I don't know the cute mini burritos. I guess you could say, but it's just cheese and some of the filling. I guess I don't know. I'm really gonna have to figure out how
You're gonna have to ask TikTok how to make it.
I'm doing fish if it's got a lot of meat in it, but I'm not going to do all that.
Gotcha, covered. No worries at all. So Taco Tuesday, let us know in the comments if you plan on having anything that is inspired by the Mexican cuisine or Spanish cuisine, because I don't know where tacos really originated from. Jack and I just decided to talk about this just now, so don't shoot the messengers if we got it wrong. Yeah. You say what?
I'm going with Greece. Well, because it's like the gyros that you get that's similar, and I'm just gonna say something.
I mean, pasta started in India, so I think you might be on to something there. Just want to give a shout out to everyone that's watching us. Good morning to you, Sean Smith. Good morning, Karen Simmons, and good day to you, Anika Deshields, as you're joining us. As you can see, as always, Jackie and I are ready to bring you some more feel-good energy to get your day started on a positive note. And we'll let you know that today we're going to be talking about things we wish we spent more time doing 5 years ago. That is our feel-good topic. If you haven't been following Jackie on Twitter, that's something that she posted. And so I thought that would be a great conversation for us to have right here on the Good Day Bermuda. So make sure you stick around for that. And if you want to test your knowledge against Jackie to enter our 1-year anniversary giveaway, do make sure you stick around for our feel good vibe of the day, which is trivia time with Terri. Before we get into all of that, we do kind of want to warm you up for today's feel good topic. We want to know, what advice would you give to your younger self? Before I engage with this conversation, I want to say hello to my bonus niece, Soleil. Thank you for watching, Soleil. This little girl is the best little girl you could ever want to have as a bonus niece. This is so smart. She's so smart. So let's talk about it. What advice would you give to your younger self in any aspect of life? Because I feel like there's so many areas that one can kind of say, I would give myself this type of advice or that type of advice. Pick an area and just say what type of advice you would give yourself. We can go through all of the areas, or we could just focus on one. Jack, do you have anything that's like burning, like advice you would like absolutely give yourself? Go for it.
Yeah, be more selfish.
Okay.
I'm sitting here, I'm like, I would have started I would have worked out more. I would have been saving more, traveling more. And I'm like, oh, wait, you're too busy making sure everybody else was taken care of and straight. And like these self-cares, the meditations, I've always taken care of myself, but I would have taken a lot better care of myself, because everybody else that I'm helping, like, you're grown adults. Why am I doing so much?
I was rewatching the episode of Sovereign Life that I recorded with Mr. Simmons, and he mentioned self-interest versus selfishness. And it was like one of those light bulb moments for me because, like, we hear the word selfish often and it has a negative connotation because genuinely it is a bad word. But he was talking about self-interest. And
Mhm.
that's kind of where I was like, that's actually what people should be focused on. Because what you're just talking about, it's you putting your self-interest
Yeah.
in the forefront. That's not to say that you can't help other people or you won't help other people, but taking care of your self-interest for whatever your reason is not a bad thing. And I think because we were talking about it in the context of millennials and just like how we're looking at the economy and what actually is going to what type of state we're going to be living in. And it's this idea of, as an entrepreneur, you tend to need to be more focused on your self-interest and getting your business to a specific place, so that you can help others. Because genuinely, that's what you're doing. When you create a
Yeah.
business, you are trying to help others. So even in your situation, like it is moments where you're like putting your self-interest first by working out doesn't necessarily mean you'll never be able to help people. It just means you'll be in a better mood.
Can I pour into myself because I have a moment? But I know you're trying to do the selfishness versus self-interest, but I like legit want to say selfishness because people need to take the negative away from it. Like, it's okay for me to be selfish and worry about me because you trying to force me into doing something for you is you being selfish and, not thinking of what I need to do for
The
myself.
negative selfishness.
Right? So I'm quite okay with I'm trying to get that guilt that comes, so the more I say I'm being selfish, it's taking away the guilt, whereas self-interest makes me feel like I still have to find a way to make
Okay.
you, sort you out. Whereas me saying selfishness is like, no, you're taking care of you. You're using me to take care of you. So in order to use me, I need to pour into myself. So I'm okay with
Gotcha. Covered.
and
If
no
you're just
guilt.
joining, no guilt. If you're just joining us at the bottom of the screen, you'll see the question that we're discussing for our feel good warm up. Let us know what advice you would give to yourself in your younger years. I want to come to this comment from Anika DeShield. She says, travel the world for a year before university, invest your money early, buy a house earlier, and stop trying to impress others. That last one, I think, kind of encompasses why a lot of people don't do some of the things that they want to do, or they do things that they shouldn't do. Probably
Yeah,
the second one, probably the latter.
yeah. I I don't try to impress other people. Like, my favorite phrase is "I'm broke. I don't have it. I can't do that." I don't know if it's a way of me to avoid doing things and showing people stuff. It's just easier to be like, it's not a possibility with me.
I
You know
can't.
how they used to say you want it done right, do it yourself? Well, I learned that people ask you to do a lot more things when they realize what you're capable of. So if you're new to my life, if you've been around, you know what I'm capable of because I've done it,
Mhm.
without thinking. But if you're new to my life, if somebody's just like, oh, I've never seen you before, who's your parents? What's your, like, when they start to try and interrogate you, I'm just like, I'm absolutely nobody. Oh, everybody's somebody. I'm like, well, no, not
You
me.
know,
I'm nobody. I can't do anything. Don't ask me for anything. Thank you.
I cannot help you. I want to come to this comment from Karen Simmons. She says, focus on myself more and not feel guilty about putting me first. Definitely aligns with what Jackie was talking about. If you're just joining us, let us know in the comments what advice you would give to your younger self. I think that it's difficult to kind of get the idea of guilt associated with focusing on yourself more. Oh, like I think it's very difficult. Like anyone that's talking about things that they would try to do for their younger self or advice they would give their younger self, listen, it's okay if you are like, this would have been nice if I had done this like 20 odd years ago, but right now,
Like,
I don't
sometimes
know.
I sit and I'm like, all that money I spent, if I didn't spend it, I'd have it. And it's just like, but what's the point of having it? Like, it's not to spend an experience life. So I don't regret any of the spending. I don't regret any of the experiences. I do regret not making sure that I was straight.
Time is the most expensive thing that we have, and it's the one
Yeah.
thing we can't. Like, you can get money back. You can, you can plan another trip to a place that you've been to before, but time you cannot get back. And so definitely, it's probably
I am
the biggest piece of advice to give to yourself is like make sure you make time for yourself.
I am with the whole traveling more because the world is so I it depresses me that I'm not going to be able to experience the whole world in this lifetime. It's just not possible.
We
Not to
don't
be
have the means right now.
I would literally have to just have like, do I have to start a vlog and just hope
Yeah.
somebody sponsors it, or am I gonna have to stay in hostels, which is still not the experience I want? You see how it's just not working out. I need to have another life, but actually remember this one, so I could be like, okay, so
Where did I go? Where did I not go?
you've experienced that, like the idea of somebody being like, I'm a vampire, let me bite you. I'm like, yeah, because I need to see the rest of the world.
She is so different, y'all. If you're just joining us, let us know in the comments what advice you would give to your younger self. I'm going to come back to the audience. Anika the Shield says, I agree. It's okay to be selfish. I think that's definitely a theme that we can all kind of rally around, obviously within reason, not doing it so much that you become a selfish person, or you never help anyone, but, honoring the fact that it's okay to put yourself first and be selfish when you need to. Sean Smith, Jack.
I would have told myself to quit my government job 5 years ago. I moved to Portugal. Okay.
I
mean,
I want
I'm all for it.
Jacky's definitely for it.
I mean, after yesterday's review, I'm trying to move too. Can I come?
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about yesterday's review. We'll probably end up talking about it low key in the field goal topic. I want to come to this comment from Karen Simmons to kind of aligns with what Sean was saying, leave my job and my intuition told me to do it. And I think that's a lot of things that speaks to a lot that we don't do as a community. It's like we'll stick in a job because it's the primary source of income. It's keeping us from, having a financial crisis. And so we tend to stay places where we don't need to stay. And
I was going to ask what makes you guys stay longer than when your intuition kicks in, because is it because you have great coworkers and you feel guilty? Yeah, I'm always curious.
So advice I would give to my younger self in that situation, because I did stay. So I worked at Spelman during as a student and beyond graduation, and I probably should have left to get more challenging experiences in employment before if I was deciding to come back to Bermuda, because at the time I was not intending to come back to him. And the reason was, yes, I had a great team. It was like a family. I was a student there, became an adult there. So it definitely was the environment, and that's very difficult to source out when you're like doing the interview process. It's really difficult to determine if a company has that type of environment that you want, that you can thrive in. And that was probably my biggest fear, is if I go to a place, corporate America, and it doesn't feel like what it felt like at Spelman, or it doesn't give me the same type of support that Spelman gave me. So for me personally, it was, I like what I have. It feels comfortable. So it kind of comes to this point from Latoya. She says, step out of the box and don't conform to social norms of the day in terms of education and career. Figure out your passion earlier. I think I was passionate about technology. I just didn't see how I could have both at the time, like a really great career and a really great company.
Mm.
And it's America. So there's that.
That speaks for itself.
There's that. And so when it comes to this comment from Anika Deshia, she says responsibility, good co-workers, honestly, comfort and fear of the devil you don't know, or the evil you don't know. Maybe the devil, probably both. But yeah, it is it is the unknown.
What you're saying.
Yeah, it is. It is.
What will I get there? Like, I know what I'm getting here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I think that's why some people stay in other even relationships too long. I mean,
Yeah, we could.
work is a relationship as well, right?
Yeah. Oh no, and I think so. We should talk about that too before we take our commercial break, because I definitely want us to like kind of hone in on that. But before we do that, I want to bring in this comment from Karen Simmons. She says, "For me, it was the guilt of leaving my students, but formal education did not resonate with me anymore." To answer your question, Jackie, so for everyone, it is a different reason, and for the most part, it's usually around someone else. Like someone else is feeling around what's going to happen in your situation, or for if it's internal, it's like the fear of the unknown. So everyone has their reasons, and every reason is valid. If you feel like that's a good reason or a good enough reason to stay, then stay. If you feel like uneasy in your spirit, you should probably leave.
Yeah.
Just
I get why Karen Simmons there, because like the kids.
We love the kids. Jackie and I are going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back with our figure topic of the day. We are discussing a 5-year challenge. What would you do over? Would you wish you had done 5 years ago? So make sure you stick around because Jackie and I will be right back after this commercial break.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio, home of Bermuda's most engaging morning talk shows, The Daily Hour and Good Day Bermuda. Download the app, available for Android and Apple devices. BCG Radio, your station for conversations and entertainment.
Welcome back to Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terry Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. And if you're just joining us and you haven't already done so, please take a minute to share this episode wherever you are watching, because Jackie and I are about to have our feel good topic of the day. Now, if you don't follow Jackie on Twitter, her handle is right there on the screen. Make sure you do so right now, or at least after this episode, because she has been asking a lot of great questions on Twitter and getting a lot of interesting responses. And I've seen them and I'm like, this is such a great question. We should talk about this. So today we're actually going to be talking about one of the questions that Jackie posted on Twitter recently. And it's a really simple question. What do you wish you spent more time doing 5 years ago? It could probably align with what you talked about as far as advice you would give yourself, your younger self. But let's talk about what you wish you spent more time doing, because we've already determined that time is the biggest expense we all have. It's the one thing that, we can't get it back. So once it's gone, it's gone. What were some of you can, I guess, share some of the responses you saw, Jack, or maybe talk specifically about what you wish you spent more time doing? Because I feel like there was a lot of good,
It was
conversation.
Responses. Some people were simply talking about taking care of their body, whether it was stretching, working out, eating better. Some people stepped away from the passion of spoken word and poetry and just their creative juices, allowing them to flow naturally. You had people that were talking about traveling, saving, investing, more time with their family, loved ones, because obviously right now it seems like it's the season for loss. Every other day we're losing somebody, and it's just I really wish I spent more time hanging out with the people I am closest to. We take everything for granted because we're just I'll see him when I go home, or I'll spend time with him this weekend. I'm gonna go hang out with my friends, and then next thing you know, it's the older generation that we're losing, and we just take time and life for granted.
I totally agree. I think one of the things I wish I spent more time doing, which I was younger, so I really couldn't do it, was spend time with my grandparents, because I didn't have my maternal grandmother. I didn't have her. She passed away before I was born. So I had 3 grandparents left. I lied, 2, because my paternal grandfather passed away before I left. So I only had 2 coming into this world. And I wish I had more time to remember my grandparents, because I have memories. I see pictures, but you don't actually remember the impact they had on you in that moment. All you can see is a picture. So you kind of making up the memory. Not to say that you don't have it, but it's really difficult. Unless you go to maybe a therapist and they help you tap into that. But those are hypnotize me. But those two, that for me is probably a really big one. It was actually having time with my grandparents that I could actually remember. Mind you, like I said, one of my grandparents passed when I was 11 and the other passed when I was a little older. So I could have had more experiences. And I think to your point, those would be some things I wish I did. It's obviously more than 5 years ago, but if I could say that would be one thing, because you memories, they stick around, but they don't feel the same as when someone is actually there and you're having an experience with them. So I definitely think spending more time with family is probably a top one. And we can all start today.
Yep.
We should all start today.
I live right in the same building as my family. So I literally talk to them all day, teach next to them. My sister that doesn't live with us, I talk to her all day. But I think about it, and I really enjoyed the last 5 years of my life. That was where I started to become more selfish and make those hard-hitting decisions to either stay or walk away from certain things. But I feel I would drink more water.
Well, that's something.
I now all I do is drink water, and I love it. I don't know what I was drinking a lot of alcohol back then, but No, but let me stop playing. Things I would have done more. I actually would have started my garden. I really wish that I had just, and I know that sounds like it's something small, but the way the world is going right now, everything is becoming so much more expensive. And if I could just get all of that sorted, it would be better. And I probably would have said traveled more if I had known the pandemic was going to hit this hard for this long.
Bro, I feel like everyone would have traveled more. It would have come to this coming from Sean Smith, excuse me. He said, if I would have left Bermuda 5 years ago, it would have afforded me more time with my wife and children. And see, that's the thing. Like sometimes if we just do the thing that we think we're not ready to do, or if we're uncertain about, we would actually be able to get some of the things we actually say we want, which is be able to spend more time with our family and friends, have a little bit more freedom. It might be a little rough in the beginning if you don't have a plan, but if you have a plan, you might succeed. But I definitely think for me, it definitely would be stretch more. It definitely would be practice my yoga daily. And it doesn't have to be like a full 30, 45-minute workout. It could be a simple 5 to 10-minute stretch, specifically on the areas that are super tight for me. Because now when I do it and restart, because I just restarted it again, a fitness challenge yesterday, and it's like, this hurts. Like,
I love it.
But yeah, I mean, but when you do yoga, you're not supposed to like really force yourself into a pose. So if a pose hurts, you're supposed to ease off it a bit. You're not supposed to like go into the stretch. That's like
overstretching.
Yes, and then it leads to things where you have a messed up hamstring because you're overstretched. So like it's like that. You feel the burn, and then you come back, you dial it back
a bit. I just enjoy, because most of the times I'm stretching because I'm sore, or so there's that pressure release. Like my lower back was tight the other day, and I sat down and I went through some stretches, and I was just like, oh, this one right here, this is the one. This feels good. And I just sit in it. I'm just like, yeah, I might just sleep in this position. It feels great.
Just stay here. Just stay here forever. If you're just joining us, let us know in the comments, what is something you would do over if you had the opportunity to go back 5 years or even more? Let us know in the comments. I know one thing which you kind of mentioned that came up from your Twitter audience, investing. I absolutely would have taken investing more seriously because I did do the investing challenge at Barkley and we won, but then that was it. And I think what was unfortunate about it, it's like nothing against Barkley because that's our alma mater, love the school to death, but I really feel like some of the prize money should have went to those of us that participated so that we could actually like create our own stock portfolio and take the things that we learned and actually put them into practice, because the school got money, which is a great thing. Like that's usually what happens when you do these competitions representing your school gets the benefit. However, now that I'm a little bit more into financial literacy and I know the importance of, if we had done some of these things earlier, we would not be in some of the situations that we're in. Like if we had the opportunity to start an investing portfolio at 16, 17, we would be light years ahead of where we are today. Like we wouldn't be as nervous about whether we're going to be able to draw from retirement when we get to the retirement age, because there's less than 500 children that were born in 2021. Like we don't have to worry about these stresses had we been able to get a little head start on our investing. So that's definitely something I wish I would have done, or I would do over if I could have.
As I'm sitting here, I think about some of my clients whose children already understand investing, the marketing, and they just sit there and that's their version of PlayStation. And they come and they tell me, and I'm just like, I wish I knew when I was 16 and 15. I really did. Like, we are behind the 8 ball, but not my children. I mean, I ain't got none yet, but you mean.
No, it's real. And it's one of those things too. It's like, it's not too late to start. So this isn't a doom and gloom situation where it's like, if you haven't invested, you can't start investing today. It's just like, definitely if I had 5 years to go back in time and like get started, because that's not even in my teens, that's still in my 20s. So like, yeah, I would absolutely start. And then if I had 10 years to go back to, or 15, I would absolutely start investing at that particular point, because compound interest is a beautiful thing. It works in your favor. I want to come to this comment about our stretching, Jax. Jason Shirley says, because we're getting ill, Jax, stretching is key. It literally is.
And drinking your water. Like I catch myself stretching a lot. I'd be sitting in bed, and next thing you know, I'm going through a stretch, and it's just I don't remember having to do all of this when I was younger.
You didn't. Like, you absolutely didn't. Like, yes, to Jason's point, we are getting older because when we were younger, we could move into certain positions and stretches, and our muscles were, what is it, loose. They were loose back then. Now we're just like the stress of life. It's causing a little bit of tension. The adults didn't prepare us for this. They didn't tell us that our body would get so tense that it would be difficult.
Listen, we were just like, no, that's just you. I'm gonna be here forever.
That is something that we said. Meanwhile, 10 years later, here we are. I'm going to come back to this comment from Sean Smith. He says, I wish they had investment clubs when I was in high school. I had to learn about it when I was studying finances in college. And that's probably not even the full scope of what we could have learned, right? Like, imagine if we had in our high school days just the actual investing class, not even the club, like a class to focus on investing. Like, public school children would have been
thriving,
be rich.
Is that
rich? We'd be wealthy.
Is that something that we can implement? Like,
well, you see that the BUT and the Ministry of Education are having a little squabble, so I don't know if that's something that could come in there. However, it would be nice.
I feel like we need a sage Bermuda.
The island needs a good
I think we should just like walk. Like, I need a big truck, throw some sage,
and just light it and just drive from St. Davis to South.
Yeah, because it's just so much bad energy, and it's not helping. It's not productive. We're just arguing and pointing fingers, and it's just like, wait, can we just like all have, be accountable and have self-awareness and realize the role that we're playing in the demise of Bermuda? Because we can still pull it back. It's going to take a little bit more work, but it's a lot less work than if you keep bickering for the next 5 years, and then we're going to be having this conversation in 5 years. It's going to be like, oh, I wish I squashed all of that and sorted stuff out, because, you wouldn't be here trying to now start a whole new foundation off of a rotten piece of land. But say, Lovey.
I definitely agree. And the one thing I think I wish I would have done 5 years ago, I'm actually going to bring up the question for this. I may be just joining. What do you wish you spent more time doing 5 years ago? Let us know in the comments. I wish I would have paid more attention to what was going on in Bermuda, even though I wasn't living here, because there were things that were happening back then that I wouldn't say necessarily I could have influenced, but it would have helped maybe direct my decisions on what I was doing when I lived overseas, or made me a little bit more conscious of, possibly the sign of the times. I just was I don't live in Bermuda. There's no need for me to pay attention to what's going on. So I would very seldom see stuff about what's going on in Bermuda. And now I'm like, I wish I would have paid more attention. Like I said, I may not have been able to influence anything because I can't vote when you're not in the island. However, just knowing some of the consequences of some of what was going on back then would have been probably helpful to me, for sure. I think that's something that I wish I would have done. I mean, not necessarily 5 years ago, probably 10 years ago, because 5 years ago, I just moved here. So I started paying attention.
Oh my gosh, 10 years ago, I was 23.
We were babies.
Partying.
You say what?
I was partying.
Yeah, I think another thing I would have done 5 to 10 years ago is spend more time doing party less.
No.
And not in the sense of because in my 20s, I should be partying. More like sometimes I didn't need to go out. Like some of these events where there's not events I needed to go out to, just because why? I just went because trying to impress other people, keeping up with the Joneses.
Keeping people happy. And it's just like, as I sit here and I think about all the times I went out, and it's just like, what was the point? Because I'm not even friends with these people anymore.
No, literally.
Obviously you're sitting back and like, that wasn't even a good friendship. Like, how some people are good to be around each other? Yeah. Some of these were just not good ideas. Like, why am I out on a Tuesday when I have work the next day till 4 a.m.? Like, just.
And then be just waking up at 7 o'clock like it weren't no thing.
But it wasn't like it was like a wicked session. Like sometimes it was just like, I'm sitting. I actually have some memories where I'm sitting out miserable because it's just like, I'm ready to go because this isn't fun. Why am I still here? And I wish I had just taxi.
Or never went.
or never went. I like not going places now.
I love it. I actually wanted to come back to something we talked about earlier. We started to talk about relationships and defining them. Um, I definitely have moved, like, for like forever, up until maybe 10, 15 years ago. I used to think of relationships as only the intimate relationship, between girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, girlfriend, girlfriend, boyfriend, boyfriend, whatever the case may be. And it was literally, I had a light bulb, and I can't remember how I came to this decision, but I was like, yo, every relationship, I said decision, every relationship, and it's weird now because like I say it, I'm like, it's difficult to explain how I thought about it back then, but I'm like, everything's a relationship. Like your friends, that's a relationship. Your coworkers, that's a relationship. Strangers, that is a relationship. It's not, there's different levels to relationships, but literally we are all in relationships with people every single moment of the day. And we look at it, but we only focus on the intimate relationship. I'm like, this is why we're failing. So 5 years ago, that's definitely, or 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that is something I would do over, is how I view relationships, because that, I won't say it messed me up, but it made me focus on certain relationships more than others. And unfortunately, it didn't always work out.
Yeah, I wish I had spent more time evaluating, like actually sitting, like you know how you do during meditation, looking inward and seeing if these relationships with people that I'm keeping close to me are actually feeding my soul or like eating at me. And like 5 years ago, I probably would have ended a lot more relationships because like a lot of them were just, I don't want to say the word leeches because there's a benefit to every type of interaction.
Yeah, you learn.
There's always a learning curve, but I wish I had learned the lesson a lot sooner and would have been outie. I probably would have spent, yeah, I would have spent more time, not alone, but in more meaningful circles, like gatherings, versus ones where it's just about getting completely drunk for no reason. Like I'm not miserable. I'm
Like
not
my life isn't bad.
right.
That's
So
not to say you only should drink when it was bad.
black out to not forget, like to forget anything. I'm not trying to run away from something. I've always been very capable of sitting and acknowledging my position and where I am. But I would have been more self-aware of how the outside people that I keep in my circle are affecting me and my decision making.
Totally agree. When it comes to this coming from Sean Smith, he says, yep, the amount of money I spent on clothes, alcohol, and food, and admission to the club in my 20s, boy, I could have done better things with my money and my time. Could not agree more. I definitely feel like that's one of the reasons why, like, I'm super, like, hypersensitive about financial literacy right now. I'm like, yo, you don't even have to be like super smart, but if you just like make a few better financial decisions in your 20s, like you will be living your very best life in your 30s and your 40s and your 50s. You won't have to worry about what government's doing with the budget or what they're not doing with the budget, because they just was the finance minister. So there's that.
And I sit and I think about the amount of money I used to just walk around with. Not like it wasn't a lot, but it was a lot.
For that time and that age.
Why? Like, and then people will be like, oh, anybody that was on the street, like homeless. I still do it though. They'll be like, can I have like, oh, let's go, we'll go buy you some food. Oh, you wanna go? We will get you some groceries. What do you need? Oh, you need your socks, let's go, we'll go and give it to company. And like I don't feel bad, but I wish I would have done something like hold off, invest, and find a way to help them like work.
Be more self-sufficient, because it's one thing to help them.
Like, I felt like now looking back, I'm like, you was enabling this person to just walk around because you just did everything from, if I had everybody doing something for me, I wouldn't do work either. But like, you know, obviously some people's situations are different, so you gotta be sensitive to that. But I feel like I would have found a way to help them be, like you said, more self-sufficient.
Yeah, and so when it comes to this comment from Anika, she says, what we're talking about says everyone passed their 20s. Yes, we all, hindsight is definitely 2020, pun intended, but it definitely is something that, you have to go through it in order to be able to experience it. And sure, we can tell the young folks, what we think they should do, but until they experience it for themselves, they might do exactly what we did. But hey, cycle of life.
I tell them like, here's a little life hack. If you want to go through the trial and error yourself, by all means. But if you want to get to that destination a little bit faster, listen to what I'm about to tell you.
I love it. Jack and I are going to take a quick commercial break and then we'll be back with our feel good vibe of the day. And we're going to wind down today's episode. So make sure you stick around because Jack and I will be right back after this commercial break.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio. Home of Bermuda's most engaging morning talk shows, The Daily Hour and Good Day Bermuda. Download the app available for Android and Apple devices. BCG Radio, your station for conversations and entertainment.
Welcome back to Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pete's House and Ariana's Restaurant. I'm Terry Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. If you're just joining us today, we discussed advice we would give to our younger selves, as well as what we would do 5 years ago, 10 years ago, even 15 years ago, if we had the opportunity to do it over. So let us know in the comments if you didn't get a chance to engage with us during the show. Jack, top moment, top thing we talked about today. What did you enjoy about today's conversation?
All of it. No, seriously. I like these conversations. It's my questions. And these are things that I think about. Like, I know I like to put some off the wall stuff just to get a reaction, just to see how people are going to react. But with stuff like this, I just want is more so, how self-aware are you? Like, how often do you think about your mistakes and even your successes in your decision making, and what would you have changed? And while looking at what you have changed, how can you still make that and rectify those mistakes? Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things where I sit there and I'm just like, oh, I wish I would have done this. But it's not too late, because people think that your life ends at 30. It doesn't. It doesn't.
You have at least 2 more lifetimes to live, apparently. If you can make it to 90, like, you can live twice more before you actually depart this earth. So like Jackie said, you still got time. There's plenty of time left over. I enjoyed this question. When I saw the question on Twitter, I was like, oh, this is a great question to talk about, because I haven't thought about that particular thing in ever. I think the last time was probably 10, 15 years ago that I thought about what I would do if I had a chance to do it over. So I thought it was a great question. I was like, yeah, we're definitely going to talk about this, because I'm pretty sure some people in the audience maybe haven't thought about it, or maybe have something else that they thought about since they last thought about it that they would like to maybe kind of bring to the forefront of their mind. So thank you, Jackie, for putting that question out on social media. And we'll be continuing to troll you and see what else you have up there. So switching gears, it is time for trivia time. If Terry, this is the first time that you are joining us for this particular segment, all you have to do is attempt to guess the answer to the trivia question correctly before Jackie. If you do, email us at engage@gooddaybermuda.com for a chance to enter our 1-year anniversary giveaway. Today we're doing trivia swag, and we're going to do a Guess Who TV show and a movie. Which one you want to start with, Jackie? Guess Who TV show or movie?
Guess Who.
Okay.
In the order you said it, yeah.
Okay. Guess Who? A 60-mile pursuit in a Bronco that later led to the trial of the century. Who was in this car? Who is this person that I'm referring to? A 60-mile pursuit in a Bronco that later led to the trial of the century.
Oh my God. What is his name? Oh my God. It's a guy.
You missed it. The audience got it before you. Karen said it. O.J. Simpson. So did Misha. So did Jason. He takes it wrong. You just thought about the glove. Nikita Shields and Sean Smith. Yep, it was definitely O.J. They actually have a documentary series about that whole situation. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. I believe it's on Netflix, but it might be going. So
I don't know. It was Netflix. I just haven't checked to see if it's still there.
Yeah, that's why I said it used to be on Netflix. If it's going, sorry for you. All right, TV show next.
Okay.
A defense lawyer, professor, and criminal defense attorney selects the best students in her. Jeez, yes. Well, for the audience, the TV show is about a defense lawyer, professor, and criminal defense attorney who selects the best students in her class to assist with cases at her firm. The answer is How to Get Away with Murder. So Jackie didn't get y'all a chance. I couldn't get the answer. So this last one, it's a movie.
Yeah.
This one might be really easy, but maybe it won't. I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston was the original soundtrack of this movie. What is the name of the movie? I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston was on the original soundtrack of this movie. What is the name of the movie?
You stumped me. This is like,
Oh my gosh, well, the audience got it. Oops. So Anika the Shields, yep. The Bodyguard, Jason Shirley, The Bodyguard, Karen Simmons, yep, and Sean Smith. I'm surprised that you don't know about The Bodyguard. Sis with I can't remember the white man's name, but it's Kevin Costner. That's a classic Whitney Houston movie. You need to go watch that.
I
Sort
am
your life
going
out.
to watch it right after this episode.
Sort your life out because that is like a really good movie. Sort it
I
out.
don't know. How did I not know
I
that?
don't know because that's
You
like
know,
the biggest song.
also what's happening? I was singing the song in my
For sure. You were distracting yourself. Yes, Jackie had no idea what the darn name of the movie was because
And then, of course, I'm trying to think of the music video. I'm just like,
she was doing everything but figure out the song. I mean, figure out the movie. So there's that.
You guys did it for me.
As always, Jackie and I hope that today's Feel Good Vibe of the Day has you ready to make it a great one. Thank you so much for watching and engaging with this episode of Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza's and Aliana's Restaurant. In case you missed it yesterday, Jackie and I are switching our schedule up. So we will only be doing live shows on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday starting next week, Tuesday. So make sure you change your calendars. Make sure you update your calendars so that you know, because next week, Monday, Jackie and I won't be live. But we will be back again tomorrow for more Feel Good conversations. So make sure you come back and check us out. Until the next episode, peace and have a good day, Bermuda.